how the hell did the Giants turn this offseason into feeling so damn cold-hearted?
I mean, it's not that hard.
It's a hell of a trick.
It really is. And the J.D. Davis thing, when you look at just that on the surface, not many people understand the nuance of what took place. And yeah, you make a fair argument about, J.D. could have just turned that down and not had to fight for $400,000, and he could have taken 6.2 and said, all right, cool, I'll play for that. And then that contract becomes fully guaranteed. And if they cut him, he gets 6.2. Instead, he went for arbitration. He went for every last dollar, and he got it. And then they realized that they could bring in his replacement, and they could cut him and not have to pay him a cent. And so they did. Cold-hearted? Yes. Smart business? Absolutely.
Probably.
And, contractually legal? Yeah. And it's what they all collectively bargained for with the players, and his representation knew that
100%.
So less cold-hearted than what we are talking about today.
Well, but that's, I guess, agreed. Yes, because that's an actual business move, and usually in sports, when your team makes a move that feels cold-hearted, but it's all in the name of we want to improve, we want to be better. There are very few people who would say that Matt Chapman's not an upgrade over J.D. Davis. So if that's the case, you go, yeah, sorry. It's a cold-hearted business. That's the deal. This one felt a little bit different. And again, I would argue this. Any one of these situations on their own, you'd be like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Sometimes it's hard to come to agreements. You have to make hard decisions. What are you going to do? But when it starts to build, when it's just over and over and over again, and whether it's we signed, go back to last year. We signed Carlos Correa without calling Brandon Crawford. Or then the way that, Brandon Crawford, you can come, sure, you can come fight for the last spot on the bench if you want, DJ BC Raw. Or you bring in Pablo Sandoval for what clearly now feels like a publicity stunt to me.
He's not making the team?
He's never making the team.
Okay.
So that feels like a publicity stunt.
Yeah.
Then you do J.D. Davis in a way that whether you think it's good business or not, as you just detailed, there's a secondary argument and conversation about that, which is even if you think it's good business, well, how does it resonate with your future employees that you would like to woo?
Right.
How does it resonate with other players around the league? I can already tell you, not good. Not good. Joe Lacob said a couple of weeks ago that a big part of the Warriors being good is we're the damn Warriors. And that matters in our league because we've got a hell of a reputation. Well, how's the Giants' reputation doing right now? I would argue less. It's less than what it was a few weeks ago. And then you add this in, which is mysterious, odd, confusing to me. And even if someone could explain it to me, maybe there are things we don't know about, I still would argue, March 18th? What the hell are you doing? What are you doing? You are decorating the stadium for opening day right now. And you told us this today? This is when you chose? Let's wake up. By the way, this is in. So Matt Chapman, you sneak that in at Friday night at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
But Renel, how about if we do 8 a.m. on Monday so that everyone can talk about this for a whole week? What are you doing? What are you doing? This is San Francisco. This is not New York. This is not Philly. And this is not Chicago. Your touchy-feely nature, it matters here. I don't need to tell anybody this. This is a fan base that sort of kind of cares about the players. I'd like to know what I follow his wife on Instagram, and they just had a baby. Brock Purdy got married last week. That was so fun. I love the pictures. That's this fan base. Stop doing things that feel cold-hearted. It's horrible for your brand. Horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. The one voice you have ever had at that ballpark, and now, for whatever reason, you're going to have to part company mutually. It's a mutual parting of ways, Mark. And as we know about mutual parting of ways, they're never mutual.
BS.
That's right. And all they are is parting. And Bruce Bochy is the one that springs to mind first and foremost, where Bruce wasn't forced out. He left of his own volition, and then he went back and won a World Series somewhere else. Turns out he wasn't retired at all. He might have been forced out, and Brian Sabean was probably forced out. And, I don't know about Bobby Evans and how his ouster went, but it didn't seem like he left of his own volition. And now your PA announcer, which if she's asking for double her salary, whatever that is, you can't afford to pay her whatever she wants to be paid. And even if that is the way this was going to go, you make a good point about the timing of it, because here we are March 18th and this news breaks and you've got a game in 10 days.
Yeah.
It's a road game, but...
Yeah, your home game's not till, I think, it April 4th or 5th?
Sure.
I think.
But she is an absolute ambassador, not only of your team, but of the city. And maybe they didn't realize how important she is to the brand, but there's more outrage than I possibly would have thought about any team parting ways with their PA announcer.
They're getting torched on Twitter.
Crushed.
They're getting absolutely torched.
Devoured.
People are devastated. And I've been thinking all morning about how to say this. I'm not a reporter, okay? I do talk to folks here in town. How did Ann Killian phrase this in the Chronicle? Did she say in paragraph 3 that Renel was forced out? Does anybody see that article?
I didn't see it. Yeah, I didn't see it.
Okay, that's what I've heard. I've heard that in paragraph 3, and I got to look it up here when we have a second. And but I've heard that Ann characterized it as Renel was forced out. Here's how I'll put it. I think Ann is correct. And I have a reason for saying that.
Yeah.
I'll just put it that way. And again, I have no background info on, like you said, where these conversations were, the why, whatever. But here's the bottom line. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to distrust between an ownership group and the fan base. When you say mutual parting of ways, we're moving Renel to an advisory role in the broadcasting department, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And this is what has been building for so long with Giants ownership. Okay, so this isn't even to give an out to the whole baseball operations department, which I do think has had a good offseason, J.D. Davis situation aside. As far as what they've actually done in roster construction, contracts, putting a team together, I think they've had a pretty productive offseason. But my concern, even though they have had many warts on their process, the baseball operations run by Farhan Zaidi, many warts in recent years. My bigger concern has always been not them, their bosses. Their bosses. Why do you keep finishing in second? I don't think the baseball operations department wants to not get good players. If somebody is motivated to not spend big dollars, it's not the baseball operations department, it's their bosses. And I don't trust the owners. I haven't for a while, and today made it a whole lot worse.
I really quickly have the language from Ann Killian in the SF Chronicle. She said, friends of Brooks-Moon say she is being forced out of the dream job she has held for 24 seasons.
Okay. I'll back that.
But they named her public address announcer emeritus.
Emeritus.
Mark. I mean...
I don't think that's the job she wants.
That's a promotion. So I don't know what the big deal is. Even though she doesn't get to actually... address publicly anymore. So you're the PA announcer emeritus. Does that mean you stand over the shoulder of the new PA announcer and go, yeah, good tone, good tone? I would have gone with starting at shortstop as opposed to starting at shortstop. But, so she's going to sit there over the shoulder as the PA announcer emeritus.
Now announcing.
Totally.
Someone else.
Totally.
Yeah. It's BS.
Well,
you're full of it, Giants. You're absolutely full of it. And it is like that last scene from Usual Suspects, where when something like that happens, our brains go backwards. And I go, oh, so wait, you were probably full of it when you said this and when you said that and when you, we finished in second and you were probably full of it then too because you're full of it right now. This press release is recycle it. It's trash. It's complete and total trash. And by the way, I'm not like, here we are, we get high and mighty over, right? For many people, they're going to go, it's the public address announcer. This is the last straw. Well, yeah, for a number of reasons. Number one, it doesn't even matter what the job or who the person is for a second when you talk about trust. But secondarily, like, if you understand Giants baseball, you understand that Renel is so many things beyond the person who tells you who's coming up to the plate. The soundtrack of the stadium, the only one that they've ever had, an ambassador for the entire organization. And by the way, in the shadows of International Women's Day and the women's empowerment celebration that is literally happening today, here are the Giants with their timing again.
Right.
They go ahead and do this to someone who is representative of diversity in this industry in multiple ways. And then do it, in my opinion, in a very disrespectful way with a bogus press release about what's actually happening. Very, very frustrating as a fan.
Yeah.
Very frustrating.
It's just off-putting is what it is.
Totally.
So if you're a casual fan or if you're somebody who traffics in Giants news and this is your Giants news and you've got the opener in 10 days and the big headline today is that you are disposing of your PA announcer for 24 years on Women's Empowerment Day where the Warriors are celebrating women's empowerment with an all-female broadcast team, and on that day you're going to send out one of the most iconic broadcasting women in our market?
Who sits down and comes up with this?
Right?
They're like, hey, we just signed Matt Chapman. Call JP Morosi. Hold on. Actually, wait.
Yeah, wait.
People are still awake. People are still awake. Hold on. Text JP Morosi right as he's getting out of the shower and brushing his teeth on the East Coast and have him break the news now. We don't want anyone to actually know that we signed Matt Chapman. Oh, but when we disenfranchise one of the favorite employees of the entire city, let's make sure we rock 8 a.m. on a Monday. Who's doing this? Who's driving over there? You guys have just taken a really cool off season and you feel cold.